believe it or not, blues, it's a lot more difficult, right? Because that's a form that everybody knows. It's always played this. Blues songs don't build up. It's just like, just go right into it. My heart's aching. Here's my guitar solo. So it was a little difficult.
Hello and welcome to the Crazy Angels podcast. I'm with Pascal Dennis and David Logan. Hi guys.
Hello.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Hi guys. Today we want to dive in our October seasonal single, Black Cat Blues. And my suggestion is let's give it a listen to start. David, can you give us a sneak peek? Cool.
Let's do this, and we'll also do that. Hello, here we go. A little quick taste.
Black cat scratching on the ground. What's this scratching? What has it found?
Gonna skip to the chorus.
In the night, black cat blues, black cat blues. Turn the screws and light the fuse. Black cat blues, black cat blues.
So very careful to get a nice fade there.
Sweet.
Okay.
Yeah, this track is perfect for autumn and the Halloween season. And Pascal, can you give us a bird's eye view? What's this story or theme behind this one?
Yeah, so many cultures believe that certain times of the year, the membrane between the land of the living and the land of the spirits is porous, and you can get an interchange. The living can go into the spirit land and vice versa. So Celtic cultures, Norse cultures, West Africa, East Africa, Haitian, of course. So I've always loved that idea because the spirit world is really the world of archetypes, and it tells us a lot about ourselves because the stories, the characters are common to all of us. So I love Halloween, it's the most obvious expression of it. So most Halloween songs are a little goofy and fun. It's become a kids' holiday, so Monster Mash and Purple People Eater and songs like that, which are fun. But I wanted to write something a little darker that reflected this other tradition. So this song has got many of the tropes and symbols from those mythologies, like the black cat scratching on the ground, and some kind of sacrifice, like a chicken in this case, or the hunter moon, or the name on a post in a cemetery at midnight. So I wanted to just dig into those and make them visible, just celebrate the archetypes, the darkness, the days when that membrane is porous, because that's also where art comes from. Because if you can connect to the world of archetypes, you have all sorts of stories and raw material to make music or literature or painting or whatever. So that's my thinking about this song.
Awesome. Thanks. David, when, producing a song which is suggesting, this feeling of mystery and spookiness, are there any like specific instrument choices, textures, or production choices in general that could help evoke that mood?
Yeah, I mean, let me just kind of play the more obvious one. Would be right around here.
The, 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 the,
And then I put a big echo, a spooky echo, like like Pascal became a ghost or something. So like, yeah, I did.
Awesome.
But you see, like Pascal and I have this long tradition now of he'll reference something in the lyrics, and I will decide. Usually, it's about musical instruments, right? But I couldn't resist. This song is Black Cat Blues and Howling at the Moon. I mean, I got to get a wolf. Got to put a wolf in, right? So now I know your question is more geared towards like the instruments and all that stuff. So what I did was I put those not so subtle spooky sounds in there, but I was more going for like the cool cat factor. And because the thing is, every one of Pascal's songs, tells the story. So in many ways, my arrangement could just be a piano and him. And I'm not kidding. And the songs would still have the same, maybe not the same impact musically, but as far as storytelling goes, it would be exactly the same. And so that's why I don't worry too much. Now, on other songs, I will like Velvet Apocalypse, like that was a very cool, like in the chords and everything. So I did like a cool jazz kind of thing. Not really jazz, I don't know, like sort of 70s lounge, if you will. Um, and Casino Waterloo, same thing. I treated the drums like they did in the 70s, low fat snare. So, but for this one, I just wanted the cool walking bass line. And then, of course, for the chorus, Marco Bonelli, he's doing the wonderful saxophone work. Obviously, Davide Sambrota on piano, and Luca Camerota on guitars. And then me filling in everything else, basses and drums and arranging, right? So, and those are the guys that, they bring it to life. Absolutely,
But I love how the arrangement builds, David. You always do this so masterfully. It starts more bare and then you add
Yeah,
texture and
for
feel. And
sure.
by the end of it, it's like, whoa.
Yeah. I always try to do that, and some songs lend themselves better. Believe it or not, blues, it's a lot more difficult, right? Because that's a form that everybody knows. It's always played blues songs don't build up. It's just like, just go right into it. My heart's aching. Here's my guitar solo. So it was a little difficult. And your chorus, in fact, that you wrote, it almost takes us away from the blues for a
Yeah.
minute, right?
Yeah, it's
And
jazz. Yeah.
so that's where I sort of threw in Motown style, horn arrangements and had, live saxophone. And if you have one live player, you can do so much behind it to get away with it. So it's fantastic. So
If I
yeah,
could,
it was.
if I could add just for young writers, so you take a basic form like the blues, but then you can augment it and you can pull in styles like in this case to the chorus just to get away from the monotony of 1 4 5 1 4 5. I just wrote a modulation, so it modulates to the relative major, and then it's a nice 1 6 2 5 1 using jazz chords, so it feels different. Or I encourage you all to check out variations like Count Basie and Art Tatum, the
Mhm.
great pianist, had variations on the blues, and then take it even further, and it's still that shape, 12 or 14 or 16 bars, but they're using weird chords, so they're substituting, the seven, the dominant seventh chord for something weird like an altered chord. It's still the blues, so don't feel limited by the structure. Use that as a foundation, and then have some
And
fun.
just want to quickly add on to that a little bit more on the history side. So,
Yeah.
for any young artists that want to really, really, really research the blues, most people will say it starts with Robert Johnson, but that's false. That is not true. Okay, it started with Willie Dixon and Son House. Okay, these are the real fathers of it, and they used to tease Robert Johnson Like, you can't play. You don't know the blues. You can't even hold a
Wow.
guitar in your hand. Stop it. So then apparently he goes away, makes his deal with the devil, the very famous story.
Oh.
And then he comes back and he just blows the lid off it. So he took everything that, Son House did, that Willie Dixon did, and then he just rolled it into this thing. And that's why people generally will credit him, right, with starting the blues. Much like, when people look at the Beatles' roots, right, what they don't do is they don't, credit Chuck Berry, because that's really where the Beatles began, right? They were trying to figure out Chuck Berry songs and, Isley Brothers and all these other songs that they then blew the lid off. I mean, Twist and Shout, and Roll Over Beethoven, totally different songs.
What I like is how these traditions inform one another. So you get the country music tradition. For example, Jimmy Rogers, who's called the father of country music, the way Son House and Willie Dixon are called the father of the blues. Well, Jimmy Rogers is a brakeman. He's working on these railroads in the 1920s, and he's listening to all these things because he's into Memphis, he's into Texas, he's into the Mississippi Delta. So you hear his songs, and they're wonderful, by the way. Check out Jimmy Rogers. So T for Texas, T for Tennessee, T for Thelma, she made a damn fool out of me, or Jailhouse Blues, etc. They're like brothers. You can see Jimmy Rogers elbow to elbow with Willie Dixon trading licks, and the respect is so obvious. And you hear people like Hank Williams, before he died, talk about that. And that's where I learned. I learned on the streets of Memphis, and I learned on the streets of Mobile, Alabama. And those boys could play, And that's the beauty of music and this shared, fraternity and sorority, right? That's what we love.
Yeah.